What's going on, y'all? This is Jay Faith. Welcome to the Right Mind Wednesdays podcast. This is episode 123. Happy to be here. Happy Wednesday. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. We just want to say God bless. Let you know we got new Right Mind podcast hoodies with the new logo available on our store right now. rightmindpodcast.com. Make sure that you subscribe, that you follow our podcast on YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple, and Spotify. All those wonderful, beautiful streaming services. Shout out to our listeners. Shout out to the team, Krispy and L.Y.F E. We appreciate you guys. And stay tuned. Here's episode 123 of the Right Mind Podcast. What's up?
You can never tell me. You can never tell me I won't rise.
What's going on, y'all? My name is Jay Faith. Welcome to the Right Mind Wednesdays podcast. As you can tell, looks a little different. Riding solo today. Team is off, busy doing things. Shout out to the team. Shout out to Krispy. Shout out to L.Y.F E. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to MOCG. First and foremost, as always, I just want to say God bless to everybody. I appreciate all of you for tuning in, for your continued loyalty with this podcast as we continue to grow and just allow people to make connections through conversations by sharing their stories, their testimonies, things that they've been through to hopefully help people grow, to learn, to better themselves, and everything in between. Excuse me. I had 3 Uncrustables before I started this podcast. I probably shouldn't have. I am trying to eat better this year, but clearly I may have slacked off today just in timing, and that is actually a really bad thing when it comes to eating right, eating well, is eating out of convenience, because obviously the number one thing that we typically go to is fast food or something that is quick and probably not as beneficial for us. So if you can, definitely try to meal prep, something that I'm trying to work on. I had food. I didn't have a chance to eat it. No excuses, though. Got to do better. Let's kick off 2025. Let's focus on our health. Let's focus on both the mental health, both the physical health, and most importantly, our relationship with God, and just connecting with Him in that way, in the best way possible. And I guarantee you, you will see things start to change for the better in your life. Yeah, man, this is my first solo podcast in quite some time, which is a good thing, I think. We've definitely been blessed with a lot of amazing guests that have graced these couches, and I appreciate every single one of them. I appreciate them for just taking the time to come out and, again, just share their time, share their space with our listeners. And if you know somebody that is looking for a new podcast, shout them out. Right Mind Podcast. What's up? Anywho, first and foremost, we're going to kick this off. I just want to say I got my notes right here. So if you see me looking, my memory is terrible. So I always got to write things down. But my first thing that I just wanted to just kind of touch on was just sending prayers to the people in California. I know they're going through some more wildfires. I know that is kind of a common thing that happens in California. Not that anybody deserves that kind of thing, regardless of where you are, but I know that it's affecting a lot of different things. And I just want to send prayers to the people of California. I pray that they are safe. I pray that they are well. I'm sorry that, maybe a lot of your belongings may be lost or land may be lost. But I pray that lives are saved, that God has His hand over your lives. Things can be replaced, people can't, as the old saying goes. I know that's obviously easy for me to say on the East Coast, but again, my prayers are just with you guys. I just pray that you are well and you are with your family, the people that you love, and you guys are doing okay. And I just pray that there is quick relief, that these fires can stop quickly, and people can get back to their homes, get back to their lives, get back to some sort of normalcy. So prayers to you guys, and I'm sure I could speak for the team when we say our prayers go out to you guys that are dealing with those fires out in California. So I've been wanting to talk about this for a little bit. I don't know how long the season has been out in comparison to me talking about it. Excuse me, it may not even be a popular thing and it's okay. I just want to, excuse me, geez Louise, forgive me. I want to use my platform to talk about it. It was interesting to me to see and a little bit frustrating when I watched it. So I have Netflix and I recently finished the season of Rhythm and Flow. I definitely enjoyed the first season. D Smoke was an amazing act. Shout out to Flawless, who's from Rhode Island, which is just south of Massachusetts, where I am from. And it was cool to see somebody close by. It was really cool. Shout out to C4 repping Boston on the show this past season, season 2. Shout out to him. Shout out to all the effort that he put into the show. Sorry that you didn't make it, man. We were definitely rooting for you. My wife and I, we've seen you perform. We know how amazing and great you are. But we just appreciate you and, just congrats on the opportunity. But yeah, man, I would say I'm a little bit upset with how the show ended. And I know that, having discussions with my wife, mostly because we both were the only ones that kind of watched it directly, within our household and people that knew about it. And, there was conversation about, well, Dre TL was somebody that, was up and coming, wasn't as polished as an artist. And, this was a good opportunity for him to connect with, some bigger people, to have this bigger opportunity. And, shout out to everybody that was on the show. I mean, obviously you made it for a reason. Shout out to the talent that was on the show. There was definitely a lot of great MCs and artists that were on that show. So, truly, shout out to everybody that was on the show. And, this is not a diss at Dre TL. I don't know him. I don't listen to his music. I'm only going off of what I heard, through the show. And, just to see somebody who was just so polished as Jay Taj, who was definitely my fan favorite to win the whole thing from the beginning. Just seeing how polished he was, just seeing how prepared he was and ready to just do each and every competition, every challenge that they had. He was just ready to go. Always had something different, always kind of switched it up a little bit. And then to not hear him win, my thing was, you had somebody, looking at last year, you had some phenomenal finalists. I mean, I couldn't even really pick necessarily who could have won that. That was kind of really a toss up. I will say, and again, no disrespect to Flawless. I love Flawless. I'm definitely, back into your music, man. Shout out to you, but I definitely had maybe like a point up for D Smoke in winning. I just liked his vibe at the time and the music that he was creating. But in all honesty, it was really definitely a toss up as far as in my perspective of who could have won season 1 of Rhythm and Flow. And so these artists were of very high caliber. And with season 2, there were definitely artists that had a lot of high caliber, and some of them that ended up getting cut. When it came down to Dre TL versus Jay Taj, man, I mean, I think there were miles in between each other. In all honesty, I mean, if you just look at the progression through the season, Dre TL, had his moments where he wasn't staying on beat. He was arguing with producers. He, was just struggling in some of the challenges. And Jay Taz was just kind of, for lack of better words, flawless pretty much throughout the whole time. of just really keeping the consistency of just doing well and just bringing a presence that just highlighted artists to the fullest. And to not hear him win was kind of crazy to me. I think there were a few people that got cut, and some people say, because it was filmed in ATL, and most of the cast is from the ATL, minus I believe what's his name, DJ Khaled, from LA, from Atlanta, and I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not familiar with where a lot of people are from. He probably could be, and I'll probably get ripped on it afterwards. I'll fact check it after. But anyways, for a majority of the cast being from Atlanta, it almost seems like they just wanted an Atlanta winner to be the winner of season 2. And again, I don't know the politics. I'm not a judge. And the judges that they had are, I mean, these are legends in the game. They've obviously been doing it and figured it out and have made a name for themselves, from not only the main judges, Luda, Lotto, and DJ Khaled, but obviously the guest judges. I mean, my favorite was obviously definitely Eminem, Royce the 5'9", definitely some of my favorite just artists growing up. Just their caliber. It was just great to see them showcase themselves and just be a part of this. So shout out to them for just taking the time to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I strongly disagree with who they chose to win that. I thought the answer was pretty clear if you're trying to choose somebody that had the most consistency throughout the whole show, and you could factor it on growth. But even then, again, from my perspective, I just didn't see, especially going into the final performance of, again, arguing with the producers, really struggling with the producers in the direction that they wanted to go, not really taking the criticism that they were trying to offer these veterans, people that have been in the game for a long time. And again, that's not to say that artists can't have a say in their music. Obviously, if you are a true artist, you are having a full say in your music. But if you are somebody that is up and coming and still learning the game, take some of that advice, and learn and grow from that. But it just didn't seem like there was that when it came to Dre TL, when it came to that, especially that final song. And so, just that, and then again, everything else that just happened through the season. I mean, J Taj, man, definitely, in my opinion, should have got that. But who am I? I am just a viewer. I am just an artist that wanted the opportunity. I've even applied for Rhythm and Flow. This was just after season 1, when they were rebooting for season 2, and this was kind of in the middle of COVID. And I don't know if they just like scrapped people, and I'm not saying that I should have made it, shouldn't have made it. I'm not here to say that. There is so much talent in this country, so much amazing talent. And I mean, C4 definitely should have been on there. So shout out to him again for making the show. But yeah, it would have been a cool opportunity just to experience, like many of the other people that were on it, to just have that experience to speak to some people who are knowledgeable in the industry and just get some feedback as well on, just where you are and where you can go. So, that's just my take on the show. I hope that, they do another season. I hope that they get some new judges. They keep it kind of switched up a little bit, maybe do a different area, and try to just really pick, in my opinion, just the best person throughout the whole season, not just maybe base it off of one performance or maybe just where the location is, but really pick the best. I forget her name, and she kind of said it, these guys cheated, if anybody else wins. And I didn't really like her, again, personally, just not my taste. Nothing wrong with that. I'm probably not her taste in music, and that's cool. We keep it moving. Best of wishes to her in her career. I forget her name, but she said, if they don't choose me, then they both of these guys cheated, type of thing. And it kind of makes you think a little bit, when she said that. And again, you hear the result of what happened. But again, who am I? These are mere speculations. I am just simply a casual viewer of live streaming TV. Who really am I? I'm really a nobody, just sharing my opinion on a platform that I have. I am open to hear people's perspectives. If you've watched it, let me know. I would love to hear your perspective. If you've watched it, taken the time to watch it, let me know who you think should have won. I would love to hear your just kind of insight. Let's have that discussion. It'd be cool. Excuse me. Let's see. What else? Oh, let's keep it on music. So recently, there was a lot of Christian artists that popped up and were able to perform at Rolling Loud. And I know that there was a lot of definitely criticism and feedback when it came to them performing. And when I first saw that they were even performing there, I mean, my first thought was, amen, this is beautiful, to be just in that kind of light. And, obviously some people are going to say, well, that is more than likely not the type of show that Christian artists should be at. And my response would be, no, it absolutely is. And the reason being is because, just like Jesus didn't go around to, they weren't Christians at the time, but all believers at the time, and only preaching to them. Obviously he has, the Sermon on the Mount, and he has a bunch of other sermons and other speeches that he does, throughout scripture where, there are followers, there are believers, but, he didn't just sit down with them. He sat down with sinners. He sat down with, what society or Christianity would view as, not some great people, that not even just not so great people. That sounds really, really, really bad, but just people that need help, and, through faith, it's something that I've learned. I've stopped drinking. I don't smoke anymore. And, those are things that have benefited my life by not doing those things for many reasons. And I won't go too far into that, as I've kind of discussed it on other episodes, and just not the direction that I'm trying to go, because I'm trying to talk about Rolling Loud. But anyway, I just think that it was a great thing to see. It was an opportunity to bring Christian music, to bring God into a different space. And, for me as an artist, I've even gotten criticism for, performing at bars and all these different places. And again, if you want to reach people with your music, you have to go to different places, and two, especially if you're trying to share a message, and just obviously the message that Christianity brings, and just having faith in God, these are the places that you're going to go. And this is not to knock anybody that drinks. I'm not saying that, people that drink are evil people. Would never say that. But it's just, you're looking for opportunities to reach people. And so, to get the negative backlash that they got off of that show, I just think was crazy, because I mean, you want to allow everybody to have their freedom and expression of music, and be able to perform in different places, and again, be able to share their message and have that message heard. So, shout out to the artists that had that opportunity. I salute you. Keep doing what you do. Keep spreading the word of God. As a believer myself, keep spreading that message, keep spreading that positivity, keep spreading that love, keep spreading the true word of God, not the watered down, not the false doctrines. Keep spreading that true word of God, which is, love for one another, serving one another, and, just following the word of God. And, that's that. So shout out to you guys. appreciate you for what you do and just, standing up for something like that. Super cool. I would love the opportunity as a Christian artist. So Rolling Loud, if you're ever looking for more Christian artists, hit up J Faith. Appreciate you. Would love, love, love the opportunity. So recently I started kind of, I don't want to say a movement. I'm probably not the first person that's used this phrase in the past or for something, but it was something that was placed in my heart, and I really wanted to push this. It first kind of started, and as I reflect, it's kind of been my kind of memento or token when it comes to my music, but it kind of just started through, an episode that I had on the podcast, and then just had me just reflecting on all these different things that I'm involved in. Again, the podcast, music, clothing brand, to my job, working with teens and youth development. Is so the kind of movement that I am trying to start or just push is called Just One. And Just One covers a couple different areas, if you will, as we've said on this podcast before, to start with that, since we're here, all it takes is just one listener to hear this podcast, to be moved, to take something from an episode and to grow with it. To me, that's a job well done, even if it's just one listener. To me, that is a job well done. That is a listener that can maybe use those skills or hear that story from somebody that changes their life, which in turn ripple effects and changes somebody else's life. And so that was kind of part one of this Just One kind of movement. And then, again, upon later reflection, again, this was kind of something that was really tailored when I even first started creating music. Was, again, if just one person who listens to my music connects with it, is moved, is inspired, is touched by a song that I've created, man, I feel blessed to have that happen. And so with music, just one fan, just one listener, man, somebody that is just dedicated to it, man, it's just a beautiful thing. And I would love nothing less than, even if it's just one. And, to take it to my job, same thing. I work with youth development. I work with teens in, different areas. And, if I can just have a positive impact on just one teen, and to see their lives change, their visions change, their perspectives change, and their goals change for the better, man, again, just woof, man, I know that I'm doing my job, even if it's just one, because I know if there's just one, there's probably more of you out there that probably need to hear this, either from myself or the many other amazing advisors that I've had the opportunity to come in contact with over the past 7 years that I've been doing this particular job. So I just, it's just about having that impact. And so, and lastly, it's, all it takes is just one person to stand up, one person to reach out to a teen, one person to make that one song, one person to have that one podcast, to that one person to just to do that one big thing for somebody else, and have that positive impact. That's what it's all about, man. You don't necessarily need this mob of people to make change or to have an impact in somebody's life. It can be just you. And so, if you are that just one person, go out there and keep doing what you're doing. Keep pushing, keep fighting. It's going to be worth the fight. I promise you, keep fighting, keep pushing, keep doing what you're doing. Shout out to you. So what I want to do with this, I have hoodies available if anybody wants to grab a Just One hoodie. It's available on jfaithofficialmusic.com. And it's not really to support me in the sense of what I want this kind of brand to be is either if you're, you know, you're a creative, or if you are somebody that is just trying to have a positive impact, grab a shirt, grab a hoodie. Like, this is for you, and I salute you in what you're trying to do, and just kind of just promoting that, you know, be that one person, or, you know, just a reminder to yourself and to others, like, yo, it just takes one to make a change, or one to be changed. And, you know, you can have that effect, and I pray that it's a positive one, and that you just keep spreading that love. Because and so obviously the main one for me now, just to take a small step backwards, is I was having a conversation with Pastor E. Shout out to Pastor E, who's been on the podcast a couple times. And in one of our latest episodes, we were talking about, you know, if you share the word with one person, and that one person takes it into their family, and that family is changed, and then their kids are changed, and then their kids tell their kids, and then it started with just one person, and that one person who received the word makes their change within their own lives, and then their family is seeing that change, and then they start to make changes. And then again, it's just that ripple effect. It goes into generation after generation after generation. And so again, it just takes that one person to make that choice, to give their life to God, to give their life to Jesus, and to affect their entire generation, and people to come within their family. It's such a beautiful thing. And so again, you know, I challenge you, again, this is not to, you know, to support me in any way. This is really to push the fact of just being that one. Just be that one, to help make change, and just know that all it takes is just one person to be affected, and it can have that ripple effect. So if you want to grab a hoodie, again, available, jfaithofficialmusic.com. Check out the store. Grab your hoodie today. We'll have some more merch coming soon, but just wanted to start with hoodies, as if you are anybody that is from the New England area, it is freezing outside. I am not cool with it. Obviously, the next step is snow. Being somebody that is from here, still don't like snow. I don't like shoveling it. I don't mind driving in it. I'll be honest. I don't mind driving in it, as long as there's nobody else on the road. Just because I just want to avoid accidents. But I think it's more, I just don't like shoveling it, because I love the snow days. Don't get me wrong. I love the snow days. Definitely one of the benefits of living out here is you get those snow days. They just close, and you get to stay home. I get a little text message that says, whole base is closed. Stay home. Stay safe. Enjoy your day off. And I love it. But other than that, I don't like the cleanup part of it. I wish there were easier ways. I know we got snow blowers and all that other stuff. Still don't want to do it. Because there always ends up having to be some sort of shoveling involved. And I hate shoveling snow. So if somebody can find a way to make it easier without ever having to shovel snow, I would be appreciated. Please let me know. I'm losing my voice as we go on. But that's okay. We're going to keep it pushing. So what else do we got? So we talked about Cali. We talked about Rhythm and Flow. Again, shout out C4. Shout out to all the contestants. We just talked about Just One. Rolling Loud. We'll do podcast updates after. So I just want to share. I just hit 10 years. 10 years married. January 5th this past Sunday. Jeez, get my days all mixed up now. But anyways, this past Sunday, obviously it'll be, a week and a half by the time this drops. But Just hit 10 years, man. What a ride it has been. Let me tell you. It has been a ride. It has been a blessing for sure. Definitely a lot of things I have learned about myself. Things that I still need to work on. I think there is always room to grow. And that's not to say that I have it all figured out. It's not to say that we have our marriage completely figured out. There are things that we are working on individually. There are also things that we are working on together as a married couple. But I think for us, the my advice, would be to have a successful marriage, in my opinion. First and foremost, what saved our marriage and what has kept it strong is definitely putting God first and putting God first together. Going to church, Bible study, different services, serving as well, and in the outreach program, and just doing these things together. We did a discipleship class where we just learned, more about who God was from, just kind of a introductory experience to getting baptized together. It has definitely saved our marriage for sure. When we first, I don't know if I ever shared this, but when we first started church, and we'd only been there a couple services, nobody really knew who we were other than the person that brought us. And we were getting ready to leave service, and one of the pastors had come up and just said, "Hey, I see you guys, but I see that there's a lot going on in this marriage right now that is struggling. And at that time, again, we didn't put anything up on Facebook or social media or anything like that. We were, the picture perfect couple on social media, as most are. Most people don't put, their all the negative stuff that happens, but we were going through a lot. There was a point that even I wanted divorce, and so he comes up and he's like, "Hey man, you guys got it rough right now, and you guys need to find that love again. You guys need to start dating again." And it really threw me for a loop because, again, I had never had a conversation with him. We didn't share anything with anybody. And for him to come up and just automatically, no, it couldn't have been anything else but God. And so, that was, definitely one of the page turners for me, as far as, fully accepting what I was jumping into, and understanding how real it is. And so, that was the start. And, we've been with that church ever since. And it's just been such a beautiful thing and a blessing to our lives to be able to just grow together with God, and just have that presence with us, and to know that he is with us, and he's going to keep our marriage strong as long as we put him first. And it's just been beautiful. It truly has. So my first tip definitely would be to just put God first. You'll just see the changes, and it'll be amazing. Second, definitely, I would say, there's a couple of things that pop into my head, and maybe it's not second, third, fourth, or whatever, but just to put it out there. And I think this is one of the bigger ones, truly, is forgiveness. And forgiveness in the sense of, just as God forgives us, it's forgiveness without record. And for those that may not understand what that means, forgiveness without record is, somebody does something wrong to hurt you, whatever it may be, and they ask for forgiveness, you forgive them, and then essentially the slate is wiped clean. There is no longer a memory of said offense that has been done to you. And you basically, start the moment anew. You start the day anew, where you don't have that animosity tied to that situation. And marriage needs that for sure, because we are completely imperfect people. Not just my wife and I, but just us as people in general. And we are going to make mistakes. I make mistakes by myself, let alone within my marriage. And so if I can do it all by myself, I can only imagine what it's going to be like with somebody else. So forgive, but truly forgive. You need that forgiveness if you really want to last, and just have that understanding that, we're just as flawed people as the next person, and we're going to mess up, and we're going to apologize, and we're going to mess up again. It's just who we are as people. We are not perfect, and we're going to make mistakes. So forgive and move on. Because if you don't, you're going to harbor that resentment, and it's always going to be there. And then you're wondering why your marriage, your relationship is not repairing. It's not getting any better. It's because you still have that resentment. But if you want to see it get better, I am telling you, forgive and forget. I know there's always the saying, forgive, but don't forget. Well, you're continuing to keep yourself tied to that person if you don't forget. And that goes for a marriage, that goes for any other type of relationship, a friendship, or, if you're dating, whatever it may be. If you continue to hold those ties, and I'll use this as an example, if you were dating somebody and they did you wrong and you didn't forgive them and forget them, the baggage that you carry from them is going to come into your current relationship. Because if they start exhibiting the same behavior, you're automatically going to go into rescue mode, and protection, and the walls are going to start going up, and you're going to kind of start pushing that person away, even if their intention is not the same as the person that you used to date, and it was not their intention to hurt you, or they maybe didn't understand that was something that you were dealing with, and maybe just something out of their character that just happened as literally a one-time mistake. You're gonna hold that against them too. And so, yeah, forgive, and continue to forgive. No matter how many times they mess up, forgive. Forgive. Truly. And it's something that, I'm still working on. There's some moments where I'm just like, no, I want to be mad. I want to be mad at you. I want to be frustrated with you. I want to be angry with you. And, and then, as much as it drives me crazy, even when we have our moments, and then, she is definitely the one to, I mean, it depends. I'll say this. She's definitely the one to try to make the situation better sooner than I normally would. Usually I will kind of shelter in place a little bit longer than necessary, than I probably should. Again, things that I'm working on. It's okay. But she is, and I love her for it. It drives me crazy sometimes. But she's definitely the type of person that to try to lighten the mood. Just like, babe, just forget. Just forgive. Forgive and forget. I'm just like, no, I want to be in this situation. I want to be angry. I want to be frustrated. I'm not over it. You didn't see my point. But I get it. Dude, just forgive. It was a moment. Don't let it ruin the rest of your evening. Don't let it ruin, the next couple of days. All that stuff. Don't let it ruin it. Don't let it ruin the marriage, man. Don't let a stupid argument, spiral into something that it doesn't need to. So shout out to my wife for just being that person that, continues to try to lay in the mood, even in some, just normal marriage arguments. But thank you, and keep doing what you do when it comes to those situations, for sure, for real. Ugh. What else? Communication, obviously, you hear that one a lot. Communication is definitely key when it comes to a marriage. You got to be able to talk to each other. You got to be able to be open about things that are happening, things that are going on. Again, things that I'm working on, as I am just involved in a lot of different things. But also having understanding of, the type of person that they are, how they work, how they maneuver, the way that you maybe work may not be the same way that they work, and the way that they learn may not be the same way that they learn, or the habits that they have may not be the same habits that you have. So you have to have that understanding of, yo, I know how to do electronics left, front, backwards. I just figure it out. I grab it, I'll open up the box, barely look at the directions, and I can typically figure it out. Whereas, maybe my wife is like, I don't know how to turn the dang thing on. And I'm like, what? You don't know how to turn it on? Oh, come on, please. How could you not? And it's like, maybe somebody just didn't, she never experienced it. How do I know? And so, again, having that understanding of just how people operate, how people work, how people learn, is definitely, and just accepting that and being okay with it, and just, making those slight adjustments and coming to some sort of compromise, especially if certain things are kind of on opposite spectrums. Well, have that conversation. How can we make this work? Even on opposite spectrums of, again, for example, how we work. How can we make this function best for the both of us? And it's possible. Even if you are on opposite spectrums, it's still possible. But you gotta, again, it goes back to just having that conversation and being open about these things, open about, your health, open about your schedule. And my wife, is probably listening to this going, yeah, I know. How about you practice what you preach? And again, thank you for being that voice that just reminds me to practice what I preach. Again, always looking to build, always looking to grow. But these are things that I have learned in my, 10 years of marriage. And it's helped me, honestly. It's helped me be better. When I do put these things into practice, because for her and I, we're just, we kind of had to learn as we went. And I think that was, I would say, maybe the struggle that we had at the beginning. We didn't have, we didn't have examples of what a solid, consistent, single marriage looked like. We had very different perspectives on what marriage looked like and didn't look like, but not the example that we needed, like that we have kind of right now, of just what again, a solid marriage looks like. And that, that's no fault of our parents. They were just trying to figure it out, just like we were, but that's just the fact of the matter. And but we didn't have the best examples, and so we had to figure it out as we went. And that's why I started this podcast. Hopefully share these things with people to get that point across. Sometimes you're going to have to figure it out, but hopefully, these tips will help give you kind of a foundation of how you should maneuver your marriage. Again, we've been married for 10 years. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Come on now. But we have we just continue growing and we continue to get closer, continue to learn more about each other, and to just be better people for each other. And again, that's kind of one of the best things that you can do, is just learning new ways to be the best person for your person. How can you do things? How can you provide? How can you just support them in the best way that you can, knowing how they maneuver by having those conversations and how they operate, and just being a good person for them, and again, all those things that I said, the communication, the forgiveness, putting God first, again, first and foremost. But having that foundation, man, for us, it's been such a beautiful thing, and it's made us so successful in our marriage. So just a couple of pointers. You could take it, you could leave it, you could tell me that only works for some people. That's just you guys. Whatever, man. That's cool. Again, this is just my perspective. This is just where I'm coming from. I just hope that even just one nugget of those helps you in your marriage, or if you're looking to get married. I hope that this guides you in the right direction. But anyway, last but not least, just wanted to share, from my own perspective. Obviously, you have seen we have updated a lot of things when it comes to the podcast. We, starting into 2025, we have updated our logo. We have a new logo. We have shortened the podcast name. Let us know what you think. We continue to shoot and drop on Wednesdays, but I just wanted something a little bit more uniform. Our Instagram handle is Right Mind Podcast. Our email is Right Mind Podcast. The website is Right Mind Podcast. And so to make those other changes with the YouTube, the Apple and Spotify, those were simple switches. And so I wanted to, in just a business aspect, as far as marketing and just trying to be better on the business side of things, I wanted to have everything literally just straight, uniform, the Right Mind Podcast. And I couldn't be happier. Honestly, I enjoy what has already come of it, as far as the look, the feel. It's definitely the direction that I want it to be. Super happy. We have some hoodies for sale. Be sure to grab one. Again, this is just to support the podcast, help us grow, and just tap into some new things that we want to tap into. This is not to, obviously, the extra paycheck is always great, but this is really just to help the podcast grow, to help initiatives that we are trying to do as a podcast. Just sometimes it just takes a little bit of funding. So if you do want to support the podcast, feel free to reach out. We will, not that I'm asking for money, but we'll take donations. We appreciate the support. But just you listening, sharing, on social media, subscribing, following, that is a blessing in itself. Everything else, can come in due time. We're in no rush. It is not our main mission. Our main mission is to, as we always say, make those connections through conversations and help others grow, inspire them, and make positive changes in their lives. Again, still around the fundamentals of what the podcast and just the Right Mind brand has been established for, fitness, mental health, financial freedom, and music, and how we can just better people. And it's just extended into a more personal connection. But everybody has a story, and for the most part, I'm sure that we can at least touch on one of those four aspects within that story. So, and you don't have to be a creative. We just want to hear your story. So, whether you're a lawyer, someone who sells houses, to a painter, to your local barista, let's have those conversations, because your story could impact somebody for the better. So, but yeah, I'm just super happy with the direction that we've taken with this podcast. As far as updating things, and I wanted to kick off 2025 in a new way and just do something different, keep it interesting, keep it moving. I hope that you guys like it. Let us know what you think of, either the logo or the name change, or the name adjustment, I should say. And just, kind of the look and feel of everything. We're still, looking to, again, as I said before, continue to grow, expand, get our own place and space to, just, in a nice spot to just continue to have conversations, man. It's been such a blessing to have this podcast. Even for me, I've probably said it 1,000 times, but I get fed off of, having conversations with people that come here, and I just take little nuggets every single time. And so going back to it, even if it's just one, and it's, it literally is just me, then thank you to all of our guests. Thank you to my team, or the team. I don't like to say my team, because I think we are just a team in general. I have firmly stepped away from the, this is my podcast. I believe that this is our podcast. And so I just thank you to everybody that has had some sort of touch within this podcast, because you have definitely helped me grow in one way or another, whether it was a good thing or a bad thing, because, you can't have one without the other. And definitely had some tough times when it comes to this podcast. So, it's definitely hasn't been smooth sailing all the time. We've had to make some transitions. We've had to make some decisions and, business moves that were, for the betterment of everybody. Maybe not, in the timing that we would have liked, but hey, we're here, and, we're just embracing every single moment that we get. And so again, shout out to the listeners, shout out to the guests that we've had. We would be nothing without you guys. And shout out to the team. This podcast would be nothing without you guys. So just thank you, 1,000 thank yous for supporting this. Thank you for getting us over 100. This is episode 123. Man, super dope, super cool. Never would have thought we would have reached 122. But just thank you for just the consistency of helping us to just continue to grow and motivating us, even if it is just that one person. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, man, I just want to say again, finally, God bless. Prayers to everybody out in California. Prayers to everybody listening. I pray that you guys are well. I pray that you guys are blessed, highly favored by the Lord. I pray that God blesses you, sees you, hears any petitions that you may have, anything that, you're going through. I pray that God just have his hand over your life. If you need healing, I pray that he heals you. If you're looking for a job, if you're, just struggling with money, I pray that he opens up doors for you, for employment, to have his hand over your finances, relationships. I just pray that he, repairs your relationship, your marriage, all those wonderful things. I just pray that God has just a hold over your life, and just, just helps make it better for you. So God bless you guys. Appreciate you. But until next time, my name is Jay Faith, riding solo today. Shout out to Krispy. Shout out to L.Y.F.E. Love you guys. This is the Right Mind Podcast. We'll catch y'all next time. What's up?